From aid to Ukraine to cracking down on China to Russia's sanctions, there are a slew of foreign policy issues that are at stake tonight. For more on this, we want to bring in Michael O'Hanlon. He's the Brookings Institution Senior Foreign Policy Fellow. And Michael, there is a lot at stake here. I mean, you run through these issues. They're all pretty tense. They could get even more tense with issues. Why don't we start out first up with China to kind of expect what we can expect with China. Right now, things are pretty tense, but the Republicans have said that they are very willing to push this. I think would like to see Taiwan independence even potentially called. How are we going to maneuver this, and what do you see playing out?
Hi, Becky. Well, if that's really a serious Republican view, then that gives the Democrats a huge political opening because it is downright enormously risky. And I would say verging on reckless. The idea that we could encourage Taiwan to declare independence and really think we can get away with that based on the idea that China has made this the red line in their entire foreign policy for decades, and that China now has a military that's extremely capable within 100 miles of its own shore. You know, we still have the best military, but China's a lot closer. So the Republicans themselves, Kissinger, Nixon, others, they're the ones that invented the whole concept of a one China policy. I think they should go back to their roots and think hard about why it made sense then and still does now. There is no way that we can protect Taiwan with complete confidence. You know, we have a hard enough time fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. War is unpredictable. Fighting China over Taiwan would risk World War III, and it would just not make sense. I'm sorry to be so adamant, but that idea, you're right, is starting to make its way into the conversation, and it is extraordinarily dangerous.
You think it's a mistake that President Biden has repeatedly said that we would support independence in Taiwan if it were to break out?
Well, what he said is we would come to their military defense. He has not said that we would support their independence, and that's a big distinction. Well, no, I mean, you know, you're assuming that the only reason China would ever attack Taiwan is because Taiwan declares independence. What I'm saying is China could just decide it's tired of waiting. And what Biden's saying is, in that situation, then we are indeed going to, or at least under my presidency, he's saying, come to their defense. And that's much different than encouraging them to go ahead and provoke the crisis in the first place. So I think Biden's pushed it a little far for my taste, but I think it's just as well that China here, that this president is inclined to defend Taiwan in the event that China, begins an aggression. Now, you're right. The details matter. And if Biden's basically giving Taiwan a blank check, that is dangerous. And one of the ways Taiwan could provoke this kind of an attack would be a declaration of independence. So I think President Biden should have been a little more conditional and not so categorical. But it's still different from encouraging Taiwan to break off from China, definitively.
Michael, if that were to happen, and what would American businesses that do business in China have to do? So McDonald's, Starbucks, so many companies left Russia after the invasion of Ukraine. What would happen in this instance? Would you see Apple and Starbucks and McDonald's and Nike and everybody leave at one time? Would that happen? Could they do that economically? It was one thing to leave Russia. It would be quite another to leave China.
You're right, except that I think in this scenario, China is already at war with Taiwan before these companies even have to think more than 5 or 10 minutes about what they'll do. So that's the huge distinction with the situation with Russia, because if indeed we then follow through with military deployments of our own, frankly, the business community can at least feel like it's in this case, going to be the second most important player because we're going to be at war against China. And so I think, the question at this point is going to be the survival of the human race, not the survival of a given American business. I mean, I'm being a little melodramatic, but only a little. If Taiwan declares independence, this is for China about the only reason I think they would actually decide we have to go now with a military assault. They might not try to invade. They might try to do a massive blockade operation and cyber attacks. But either way, they're going to be making it very difficult for the United States to sit out of that war. So I don't really think it's going to be fundamentally a decision for the business community. I think this is going to be life and death for the United States and its allies.